In under 10 years, live streaming has completely changed the way that people around the world protest. This week, Ricochet caught up with live streamers from the Black Lives Matter movement and the 2012 Quebec student strike to learn more about the effect that this technology is having on social movements. So we're just here at the Media Activist Research Group conference at Lakehead University on Chippewa Anishinaabe territory, and I'm with Chenjerai, who came here all the way from South Carolina to talk about live streaming, because you've been covering the Black Lives Matter movement and police brutality protests for quite a while now.
Right.
So can you tell me a bit about how live streaming is changing protests and the direction that it's going in?
Yeah, well, I mean, like with all sort of alternative media, or citizen journalism, you're getting a perspective that's less edited, less produced, and also where like the media isn't just blatantly misframing things or lying like mainstream media often does, right? But I also think there's a couple of other things going on. One is that you have a much more of a sense of like continuity, like there's always a protest. If you go to the different live stream channels, it's like you realize every day, all day long, somebody's protesting something. So it helps us to sort of understand that the movement is ongoing. Another thing that it does is it gives you a lot more footage of those protests. We get to see really how the police misuse their power and how they use force, right? You get a lot of different footage of that, not just like one CNN clip, but like, anybody who has a camera who's doing it, you know what I mean? And the third thing, and this is really important, is that now people are using live stream. When people watch it, they're watching a lot of times because they want to be a part of the protest, like they want to virtually experience it.
Can you tell me about some of your experiences live streaming protests, how like maybe things have changed based on the live stream getting out to people or police seeing it or...
Right. I mean, there's a lot of cases. I mean, there's one though I think in Ferguson with the guy who taught me how to live stream, and his name is Rebel Z. John Ziegler. But basically, he caught a police officer who basically was talking to a bunch of journalists and protesters, and in the process, the officer told them basically go fuck yourself. It kind of went viral, and that officer ultimately wound up getting fired.
What's your name, sir? Your name's Go Fuck Yourself, alright? Go fuck yourself.
Wow.
Hello, officer, go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself, he's trying to kill me.
Do you think there's kind of like any few pointers or like code of conduct that you would give to live streamers?
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, I think in general you always have to be respectful to the people that you're trying to cover, even officers. I mean, I'm not disrespectful to officers. I'm just going to be bold about catching them. But for example, if you're like protesting indigenous people who have certain feelings about the camera or certain things they don't want to be, recorded, then maybe you shouldn't record that.
So now I'm with Laith Marouf, who was one of the main live streamers in the 2012 student protests in Montreal, which actually helped bring down the government there. So can you tell me a bit about what role live streaming played in that movement and what that looked like?
Well, live streaming played a huge role during the strike in Quebec because if you compare it to previous strikes, you would see that this was the longest existing strike. It lasted almost 6 months and had the largest numbers of students on strike. And I would argue that part of that sustainability of the strike was the existence of a live stream. I would say at least 10 people used the footage of CUTV to clear themselves in court. Okay, so that's a huge number.